Hey everyone, it's Blake. Welcome in to episode number 89 of our WWE 2022 Save and TEW 2020. This is what we are going to kind of view as a stroll down memory lane, because I know it's been a couple months since we have uploaded a video, not just to this series, but to the channel. I put out kind of a return teaser video on the first to kind of give you guys an idea that we would be doing some new videos here coming up, and this is how we're going to jump back into it, because, yes, we have the WWE 2022 save here. We have the WCW 1998 series. We have the AEW 2022 series. Those are all kind of our game series that we have going on, plus the exploring the C-verse that a lot of you guys have seemed to enjoy. We're going to get back to doing those as well, but because the WWE one is the longest one, it's some people will eventually watch every one of them, I assume, and catch up. But because there are so many, you have to go back, and I'm like, well, it's been a couple month break here. You guys may not remember what's going on in the save. So what we're going to do is we're just going to quickly run through kind of where we're at now. And I know we're actually going to be doing a state of WWE here in about 3 or 4 episodes. So they don't blend together. We're just going to kind of make this more focused on, if you forgot, here's a reminder of where we're at as we are heading into Royal Rumble week here in the WWE 2022 save. So we're going to jump right into it, and we're basically just going to look at the storylines here and kind of give you guys an idea of where we are. Hey, look, if you remember everything that happened, you don't have to watch this video. If you're binge watching, and let's say you're watching this months from now after it's published, you don't have to watch this video because you're just following straight through. But because we've had a break here, I want to do this to kind of give you guys a quick reminder of where we are. So certainly, I'd say the biggest storyline we have going on in the company right now is, of course, the Roman Reigns saga that continues. And where we left off, last actual episode we have was our January Week 3 SmackDown, which was featuring a very interesting angle involving Roman Reigns sending Jimmy Uso out to attack Seth Rollins with the Universal title, and it was Jimmy basically stealing the Money in the Bank briefcase to set up a very interesting dynamic now with Reigns and Jimmy in control of the briefcase. What does that mean moving forward? Look, I mean, this thing is at a 96 now. Like, this has easily been our biggest storyline since we started the save, again, back in June of 2021 in this save. So we've had a lot going on, right? And if you remember, all of this is built up between Reigns and Rollins because of Reigns with the just stunning attack spear on Becky Lynch at the Mae Classic, and a night 2 in the final with Rhea Ripley. After that match, Reigns shows up in a hood and just completely spears Becky. We had that very strange finish. If you remember, we just went off the air with no kind of remarks whatsoever. And since then, we've been going back and forth. Reigns, of course, has destroyed Jimmy Uso during this period when Jimmy kind of, spoke out against him. And so we've seen that. We've also seen Rollins destroy Paul Heyman. So people are kind of, falling off here in this series. And we're kind of down to Jimmy Uso being the middleman now in all of this, meaning that, Reigns is kind of holding Jimmy along here. Remember, we've been using there's something that Reigns has on Jimmy. We just don't know what it is. And that is kind of compelling Jimmy to continue on as Reigns is, sort of second man now, even though Reigns has attacked his brother Jay just unmercifully. So we've created a very interesting dynamic here. If you want to go back, watch some of the, probably really the 2 most recent episodes of SmackDown. If you want to do that, you can. That gives you kind of a good idea of where we are, as things have really picked up here as we head towards, again, the Royal Rumble. And will there actually be a match involving any of these 3s at the Rumble? We will get to that perhaps shortly. So that's our biggest storyline. Reigns has been unstoppable. He's still the Universal Champion. He's beaten a lot of people along the way. He's beaten John Cena. He's beaten The Rock. It's been quite a ride for Roman Reigns at this point, and things are really heating up between him and Seth Rollins. So that's our top storyline in the company right now. Now, our number 2 storyline, I think, without question, has been the ongoing saga with Rated RKO, which has now added Christian to the mix, and the Bullet Club, which of course is comprised of AJ Styles, Finn Balor, and Adam Cole. That was one of our more shocking moments we've had in the save thus far, was the reuniting of those three at the end of I think that was episode 50. Yeah, it was kind of a milestone episode. That happened after the Edge Cesaro WWE title match. And so, where are we now? Well, here's what we know. We know at the Royal Rumble, Edge is going to defend the championship against Daniel Bryan, who, if you remember, go all the way back to SummerSlam. It was Bryan winning the title from Bobby Lashley, and then we had the official turn as Edge got a little help from Randy Orton. Those two reunited, and Edge cashed in immediately after winning the Money in the Bank to win the title from Daniel Bryan. Edge has been the champion ever since. He's had a lot of great matches. There's just been a lot of stuff, right, going on with Edge, with all the different defenses he's had. Because remember, it's been Cesaro. He had the memorable one against Montez Ford, where Ford had actually won the title until there was a technicality with Edge having his foot on the ropes. And just a lot of big matches along the way here for Edge to this point. And so now we're at a point where Edge is going to defend that championship against Daniel Bryan. They finally are going to have that one-on-one match that, again, is months in the making here. But we know on the flip side of that, that the Bullet Club have officially been entered into the Royal Rumble. So Styles, Balor, Cole, they're all in the Rumble. And we've been going back and forth here with some of the other kind of heavy favorites perhaps in this Rumble. Big E has been on a tear, still has not been pinned by anyone, even though he lost the triple threat match at Armageddon involving Bryan and Cesaro. That was the number one contenders match. Big E was not pinned there. He still has not been pinned in our series. Now he goes into the Royal Rumble with a lot of momentum still. And Cesaro, again, trying to get his other opportunity because he had his championship match basically taken away from him based on the reuniting of the Bullet Club that night. And Montez Ford, someone else who has kind of changed his demeanor a little bit, gone from kind of the, entertaining to more serious now based on what happened to him after having the title in his hands and Steve Austin having to take it away from him due to the official overturning the decision. So that was a big one. And we've got chaos, of course, between Randy Orton and Christian, who have not been able to get along, and that has kind of caused, a lot of rift here with Edge. And that caused them, of course, to lose the six-man tag team match we had with Edge, Christian, and Orton against the Bullet Club at Armageddon. The kind of dissension continues between Orton and Christian. Christian doesn't trust Orton, and we've had that kind of running thing there going on. And so yes, a lot of stuff kind of happening here that ties in the Bullet Club and Edge, Orton, and Christian. But we do know that the Raw side, the Men's Rumble, is going to be very interesting based on all the talent we have involved and that championship match, as we said, Edge versus Daniel Bryan, the one-on-one match Bryan's been waiting for forever. So big setup there on the Raw side. Heading into it, let's see. Some of the other storylines quickly we'll get into here. Drew McIntyre and Bray Wyatt have continued their ongoing feud. This has been going on basically, as we said, since the start of the save, just in kind of different form. But now it's kind of led up to Drew having some backup in Damian Priest. Of course, Bray has his backup now in Aleister Black. So we've been going back and forth on that. We had the big match between Drew and Black on the most recent episode of SmackDown. Went to a DQ after Bray Wyatt and Black before the match had attacked Damian Priest, and then it was Bray causing the intentional DQ as these two got the upper hand on Drew there in that one. But it was a really good match, and so that continues now as we head towards the Rumble. And as of right now, I don't know if we've announced it yet, but we will on the next episode if we haven't. All four of those men will be in the Royal Rumble. So McIntyre, Priest, Black, and Wyatt all in the Rumble, and I would say those are among your favorites right there, perhaps, with those four. So that's been a big one. And then, how could you possibly forget what's been going on with none other than our United States champion, who on the very first episode of Raw, as a SmackDown competitor, the first episode of the new year, we kicked things off with a bang, as it was Sami Zayn going over, winning the United States Championship from Kevin Owens, who we'll get to in a second. And now taking the title to SmackDown, which in turn sent Keith Lee, the Intercontinental Champion, back to Raw. So it's been very interesting, hasn't it? Because the setup now is Owens is going to get his rematch, and it's remember this just cracks me up. I keep forgetting the theme we have of Sami Zayn wanting Kevin Owens and Johnny Gargano arrested for attacking him and The Miz in the parking lot. But he's been bringing that up multiple weeks now. Mick Foley just kind of laughing it off. But what we know is Zayn's going to defend the United States Championship against Kevin Owens, Johnny Gargano, and The Miz in a 4-way match at the Royal Rumble. So a big match set up there, and of course we've really been pushing the fact that Miz has kind of stepped up to kind of push the friendship with Zayn. Zayn's also been pushing the friendship with The Miz. And Foley trying to kind of get in the middle of them by saying, you two would never turn on each other for a title, would you? So very interesting dynamic heading into that 4-way match at the Rumble. And again, I know we're going to go through all this when we do our Rumble preview, but we will keep that a little shorter, knowing that we're doing this episode in the middle. And like I said, if you are watching this through for the first time, months after this has been published, please just skip ahead. Like, there's no reason to keep going through this. You already know where things stand, but this is for everyone that kind of needs a refresher on where we're at. So those are some of the biggest ones. Of course, Chad Gable. The heat here is not good, but as we said, Gable not very over. I don't think we've added Angle to the mix here. That's my own fault. We need to put Angle in, and I'll do that shortly. But Kurt Angle kind of mentoring Chad Gable now, so Gable's kind of been on a nice little streak here. We look at Sonya Deville. She and Shayna Baszler still the women's tag team champions. They've added Mandy Rose to the mix now. As we know, they've had kind of the feud going on with Paige. And, oh, by the way, Paige brought back a couple legends from the past, and Trish and Lita, who, teamed with her, and that's kind of, we had the 6-woman tag here recently. So a little bit of an interesting dynamic brewing there, perhaps, between Trish and Lita and our women's tag team champions. So that's something worth noting. The Angel Garza, Dominic Mysterio, Rey Mysterio storyline is ongoing as it's continued to be kind of Dominic trying to be in the middle, basically, of whatever's going on here, because Angel Garza's kind of trying to simply, give some encouragement to Dominic after some of his losses, and Rey's not happy with it. And so it's been an interesting ongoing thing there between those people and everything that's happening there. Samoa Joe, his last stand here, we've kind of been pushing Joe heading into retirement. He's wanting to prove that he's still got it. And, so that there will be a big development with that coming up here pretty soon with Joe. The Raw Women's Championship, a hot storyline that continues as it will be Rhea Ripley finally getting her hands on Bayley at the Royal Rumble. She will challenge for the Raw Women's title. Of course, Rhea, the winner of the Mae Young Classic, which she announced her prize for that was going to be a shot at the championship, which was hers before she got hurt early in our save. And since then, Bayley has kind of just been basically holding the title, not really defending it all that often. But, we've been playing that up as, Bayley, can she hold on to her championship by beating Rhea Ripley at the Rumble? We will find out. And the Women's Rumble, a lot of interesting dynamics involved here, because Becky Lynch has made it clear that she wants to get back to main eventing WrestleMania. So Becky, and has certainly had a wild last month or so, to say the least, right, given what happened to her at the Mae Young Classic. So Becky's been pushing that. She wants to win it. Bianca Belair, if we remember, she's still our SmackDown Women's Champion, which has been the case since the start of our save. She was scheduled to have a match against Raquel Gonzalez at the Rumble. If you remember, Raquel got a concussion in the tag team match the previous week, maybe 2 weeks ago on SmackDown. So she's out of that match. So Bianca, match officially called off, and that will not take place now at the Rumble. So I think as of right now, we have it set where Bianca will not wrestle at the show, but she will be involved in some way. Charlotte Flair recently made her return. She returned, got some revenge on Paige, and then what did she do? She told Foley she was leaving for the evening. Turns out she came back, then attacked Bianca, and held up the title. So Charlotte's mission as well, win the Rumble, get the SmackDown Women's Championship back. And then there's Sasha Banks, who is another favorite for a lot of people. And Sasha now has a little help in Naomi on the Raw Women's side. So, again, we kind of booked that as an interesting setup there, given everything that had actually happened in real life. So, some of your favorites here, obviously Bianca's not in the Rumble, but Becky, Charlotte, Sasha, certainly among the favorites, I would think, to win the Rumble. And so those are some of the biggest storylines. Sheamus is going to challenge Keith Lee at the Rumble. We'll have some stuff on that on our Go Home edition of Raw here, which we're actually booking at the moment. So that's a big one. Sheamus trying to get that elusive championship that he's never gotten in WWE. Lucha Brothers, remember, they are going to challenge for the Tag Team Championships, which are currently held by Jeff Hardy and Ricochet, the team of Enigma that we have named them. And so, yes, that's going to be a ladder match at the Rumble. If you recall kind of the build to that, we just kind of had these two going back and forth. So, yes, that will be kind of a fun thing there. Again, kind of bringing back up the Raquel stuff. We had the Mean Girls, which is what we were calling this trio. They eventually broke up after Dakota Kai had had enough of Alexa Bliss, and Dakota Kai and Alexa Bliss will face off at the Rumble, and they will go one-on-one. So that's kind of been another storyline that's been brewing here recently. And so those are the main things that are going on right now. I wanted to do, like I said, make this quick because some of you, hopefully if we did it well enough, remember a lot of this stuff. But I know it's been a couple months, and asking you to remember everything that's going on is just that's a tall ask there based on everything, again, that's it's currently available to you content-wise, perhaps from other channels or from actual wrestling in reality. So I wanted to go back through, give you kind of something may just kind of click. And you're like, oh yeah, I remember that part. But I will try to do a pretty good job of, in the next Raw and the next SmackDown, kind of adding in some stuff in those actual episodes that will maybe, get the light bulb that goes off a little bit. You're like, oh yeah, I remember that little turn of events and that development and such. So that's what we want to do here with this episode. And so, yes, that is where we're at right now with everything going on. Like I said, a lot of big stuff happening. We are only 2 episodes now, or 3 episodes, we do the preview, away from the Royal Rumble. I looked back at my notes. I had to actually go back and I watched about a month or so of videos just to make sure I have everything where I want it to be, because, again, it's been a break for me too. Like I said before, work, just real life stuff has just kind of gotten in the way the past couple months. I do apologize for taking a break, but just something that, it was just something that I had to do. And so now, like I said, we're going to get back on track. And so I went back, made sure all my plot points connected, and I actually had a lot of fun going back and realizing, oh yeah, I forgot about that idea I had for this or that. So I'm pretty motivated now to move forward, and we've got a lot of fun stuff in the works here for our WWE save. So again, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for the patience and all the great feedback. I know a lot of you were very excited that announced we were going to be coming back and making new videos, and that support always means the world to me. So I really do appreciate it. And again, I do apologize for the long break, but we'll get back to doing this, and we probably won't do this kind of video for the AEW or WCW series because there's just not a lot of videos in those. I will probably tie more of the kind of, recall, the reminders into the actual TV episodes that we do for those more than anything. So I want to do it for this one, though, because we're 80 plus episodes in, and you don't want to go back and try to remember everything. So that's what I want to do with this one. So appreciate you guys, as always. And on the next episode of our WWE 2022 save, it will be the go-home edition of Raw for January Week 4.